$15.45, Pico $19.10, Fallacious huge odds $83. Over the page, Big Zapple 16. Bowie's the favourite at $175, and he's as short as that in the ring, I can tell you. Celtic Air $22, Parenthesis $9, Above Deck $9.10, a bit of a tip up here, and Noted $33. Race to start at $150. Selections, Graham Kelly likes Jet Fighter. He gets no argument with Keith Hillier. It's his selection as well. Jet for there. Big day of the year, the Speller Day. Cup day. Bowie about to come up. Stable Gossip's drawn the rails. You see him there next to the fence with Neville Wilson, the top jockeys in Victoria. Doesn't come to the city as often as some of the city sliggers, but he's still a great rider. Big Zapple set. Stand well. Ready. Wait for the light. It's on, or about to go on. Now ready. Set for the Western. One of them kicks out in the centre. Racing. Fallacious was slow to begin, and Parenthesis slow out, and going away well. Stable Gossip and Prismatic Star showing speed with Jet Fighter, Cameronic. Lockley's Traditions going up in a hurry, and just behind them Celtic Air. Pico's out a bit wider on the track with Above Deck. Bowie's got back third last, Noted in front of him with Northern Copy, Parenthesis. Second last Fallacious, and Big Zapper with them in. Prismatic Star at the 1,000 leads by a length. Pico moving up, Jet Fighter inside of it, a length and a half, Cameronic. Then Celtic Air around the outside. Stable Gossip with a nice run. Lockley's Tradition being hunted up. A length and a half further back in the field of Potter McQueen. Above Deck tucked away on the rail. Northern Copy in that group of horses. A length to Bowie. Noted's got well back with Parenthesis. It's one of the last Fallacious Absolute, and Big Zapple coming to the outside. 600 out Prismatic Star, led a length Jet Fighter, a half head away Pico, 3 deep, Celtic Air behind them. Northern Copy wide, then Stable Gossip tucked in behind with Cameronic. Above Deck. Potter McQueen needs some luck. Here's Bowie with a sweeping run out wide. Prismatic Star tackled by Jet Fighter with 250 to go. Stable Gossip, Bowie out deep, Cameronic Above Deck can't get out, and then Noted. Jet Fighter's taken the lead at the 200. Bowie struggling out after him. Now he's starting to pick him up quickly. Jet Fighter's a half in front. Bowie's going to him hard. Bowie's drawing level with Jet Fighter. Has got level. They hit it together. Bowie wins from Jet Fighter. Maybe Prismatic Star in front of Parenthesis for third. Then Stable Gossip, Cameronic. Behind them, Noted, Potter McQueen. Above Deck, Little Luck. Pico further back, Fallacious. Lockley's Tradition, Northern Copy, Big Zapple and Celtic Air.
Well, Bowie, first up for Bart Cummings in Victoria, and has got up to defeat Jet Fighter on the rail.
Bart tipped him. He said he would win, and he was spot on. Winning in 121.9. Now the openers, or the... I shouldn't say openers because they opened yesterday afternoon, but the continuation for the Foster's Melbourne Cup in Victoria for 50 cents, Orthal $5.85, Kensai $6, Banderole $7.65, Lord Highbrow $14, Natski $4.30, Chantaroon $6.80, Balciano $9.45, our Classic Bay $13.45, Secret Seal $29, the Big Mare Empire Rose still favourite at $2.70, Round the World $15.40, Congressman $6.45, Algonquin Club $31.55, Bullet Last $14.85, Ideal Centreman $7.85, It's Candide $9.85, Mr. Bunnythorpe 23, Narbotto 35, Mike 37, Terrific 14, Apollo Run 13, Coppertonic $14.60. Keith Hillier, Laurie Laxon said he'd... And in Victoria, Bowie was $1.55 and 80, Jet Fighter $1.15, Prismatic Star 90, Quinella $5.55, Trifecta $40 even, and the running double $6.75. So Bowie winning the favourite at $1.55 and 80, Jet Fighter at $1.15 after the Great Western.
Over the rough colonial tracks comes Archer the leggy bay, walking all the way to Melbourne for just one day. One day when sinews strain and nostrils show bright red. For a weak horse never won our cup. No, not on this fabulous Tuesday. From over the sea came a legend called Carbine. Such Tasman trips are now a familiar story, but our cup was barely 3 decades old when Carbine blessed it with his glory. lumping 10 stone up that Flemington straight, and the crowd roars, for here's another hero to fate on this fabulous Tuesday.
The champion horse, Farnham, raced home to a three-legged victory in today's Melbourne Cup, 72,000. And at midday today, the dramatic news was broadcast around Australia that the champion had arrived. In other news,
From deep in a depression gloom comes the great red horse who will boom. Farlap, Farlap. Will there ever be another so good? The stands shake as Pike clicks him away. No jock ever earned his money so easily on this fabulous Tuesday.
It's going to Peter Pan will win it. Peter Pan will win it. Peter Pan wins from...
They're off. The start for the Melbourne Cup of 1937 has begun.
the trumpet's finishing like a shot out of a gun. And the trumpet...
Old Rolly first, My Guy second, and third place.
And in the run of the pace, Rising Fast going to win the Melbourne Cup by 2 lengths from Helion.
I don't think Tulloch's got the bowler's chance.
Saber, Light Fingers, Saber, Light Fingers. Seabiscuit wide around, and here's Galilee. It's Ray Lever, 4, 5 lengths in front. And New Zealand gets the money back. There's no but Fleming Later won the money.
It's Vanderham in front in the Melbourne Cup.
Belldale Ball stopping to a walk, but he's going to win. Belldale Ball, Johnny Left, beats my...
What a parade. These fabulous Tuesdays. Drought and depression, good times and bad. We traipse to Flemington, and a nation holds its breath while we wonder at the gameness of Light Fingers, or at bolters like Piping Lane, champions like Galilee, or the gritty Del Rey. For they were all touched by immortality on this fabulous Tuesday.
They're making some sort of a run, and Pee-wee late. It's going to be close here. Pee-wee's going to beat them all with a mighty run. Pee-wee swamps them on the line, and Pee-wee's won at a length and a half. The Noble Comment ahead of them.
What a fabulous Tuesday.
Well, 24 minutes to go, and they will be racing in the 1988 Melbourne Cup. The only place you can catch it live is right here, exclusively on Network 10. Well, Hong Kong is a city of almost 6 million people, and horse racing is one of the most popular spectator sports there. The Chinese love a bet. At the Royal Hong Kong Jockey Club at Happy Valley, a wonderful little track right in the middle of the city. There are 600 Australians. They are all waiting for, you guessed it, the running of the Melbourne Cup. With them is one of Australia's champion jockeys, now a trainer in Hong Kong, Jeff Lane. Jeff, Mike Gibson here, can you hear me? I think we might have a trouble there with Hong Kong.
For the running of the 1988 Melbourne Cup. And I can tell you that quite a few of us here are still recovering from the Calcutta last night. A very short period of time. I'll throw it out to the boy from Sale, Joe Furigev.
Thanks very much. And good morning to you, or good afternoon to you down there at Flemington and in Australia, where we're enjoying a beautiful morning here at Happy Valley with the Australian Association turning on this function. Behind me you can see the big television Diamond Vision screen on which we'll be watching the Melbourne Cup. And to my right, the lovely girls have been enjoying a fabulous morning in the Passions on the Field competition. Wave girls, you might be recognised back home on national television. Well, that's just about it from this end, Jeffrey. All I can take a moment of your time and wish Bruce McAvaney a great call of the Melbourne Cup. Back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Joe. And with me here at the table, we have Jill Wilson. Jill, could you inform us a little bit about the Passions?
Yes, Jeff, we've got lots of ladies here today, and every year in Hong Kong we seem to get more and more ladies wearing hats and dressing up, which is great. We've got over 800 people at the Cup luncheon here at Happy Valley, and that is the greatest group of people outside of Australia watching the Cup today.
Very good, and I must say you look very attractive yourself. On my left we have John Stewart. Can you inform us a little bit about the Calcutta and some of the figures from last night?
Yes, thanks, Jeff. Quite a few of us are suffering a wee bit this morning, but last night was a fantastic night. We raised over $40,000 for charity, and we're hoping that everyone is going to kick the can again today. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jeff Lane. Jeff was, a long time ago, the glamour boy, the golden boy of Melbourne racing, became a steward in Hong Kong, now training up there. And they've got a couple of great tracks there, Sha Tin and Happy Valley, where, as you can see, they're getting ready for the running of the Melbourne Cup here at Flemington. Well, from a place with 5,000 people per square kilometre, we now go to central Queensland with 3 people per square kilometre. They want to know what's going to win the Melbourne Cup, and the man up there doing the honours for us this afternoon is Paul Hogan's son, Brett. G'day again, Brett.
G'day, Mike. Mike, if you call me Paul Hogan's son again, the name's Brett Hogan. Just don't, all right, mate? Terrific.
With
me here is Dot Slacksmith, who's a local lady jockey. You do this for a living, Dot, or?
No, mainly for fun.
Yeah.
Love horses.
Yeah. You got a big tip for the Cup?
Rose, Empire Rose.
You reckon that'll do it, eh?
Oh.
Well, we've had one race here, and I took your tip on that. And where did that horse run?
Second.
Nowhere. That's where it ran. Well, thanks a lot, Dot. We're going to go talk to a bodgy old bookie in here named Charlie, who seems to know more about horses than anybody I ever met in my life. It could take a minute, so just come along.
We'll come along with you, Brett. They're going Melbourne Cup mad up there already?
Sorry, Mike, you have to say that again.
I say I can see they've caught the fever. If it's not exactly Flemington, they're still in the right mood.
Pardon us. Well, we're at any moment now. Excuse me. Hey, Charlie. Who do you fancy for the Cup?
Oh, my fancy for the Cup, it's one of the toughest Cups on record, mate. Yeah. But I'm going to stick with the New Zealand horse, Ruffy, our Classic Bay. I think he's well set for the race, and I think he'll be the best outsider in the race for all concerned, particularly for the ladies. Yeah. But I bring it back to all the stallions, the 4 stallions, Balciano and what are their names? I'm forgetting them all. Orthal, but the horses that haven't been touched up with the steroids this year, I think they're the ones that'll be up there in their prime.
Okay, we leave the boys up there at Richmond in the outback of Queensland, and I won't say whose son he is because he's going to belt me, but gee, Brett Hogan reminds me of somebody. Now, for the latest, just before we go to the latest with Steve Quartermain, there is Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands with Prince Klaus, and she'll be presenting the Cup here at Flemington this afternoon, representing over 250,000 Australians who have Dutch heritage, and we welcome the Queen to Flemington. And now for the latest on how the betting's going at the TAB here in Melbourne, here is Steve Quartermain.
Thanks very much, Gibbo. Well, it's like the Reserve Bank here at the Pascoe Vale TAB. The money has been pouring in today. I've been here a couple of hours now and people are still pouring in, having a bet. Oh, the last 5 or 10 minutes, they've dwindled out a bit, so I guess they're going home to watch it on Network 10. On the Victorian TA pool, now more than $9 million has been bet on the Cup itself, but when you look at the national figures, that really doesn't mean much. You take into account the SP bookies, the real bookies, the Cup sweeps, the Victorian tote, and all the totes around Australia. Us Aussies today have gambled more than $100 million, and that's big bickies in anyone's business. Just hang on a sec. Excuse me. Who's going to win the Cup?
Congressman.
Congressman. Yeah. You going to have a bet now?
Oh, yeah.
Good on you, mate. I hope you win.
Thank you very much.
So people are still getting in for their last-minute bets here, Gibbo. For me, I reckon it's Kensai. Now it's back to you at Flemington.
Well, I know there'll be a lot of Sydney punters, particularly those who follow the South Sydney Rabbitohs, who hope you're right, because Kensai carries those famous red and green colours. We've got about 17 minutes to go before the running of the Melbourne Cup. Don't go away. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm going for Congressman because he has that white cross that means so much to us here at 10, and also I think Empire Rose is a good each way bet. Not that I'd suggest you gamble at all. I lost 50 cents once as a kid at Rochester and left a lasting impression.
Hi, I'm Peter Johnson, and for the Melbourne Cup today, I'm definitely on Empire Rose.
Empire Rose, 17 hands, sounds great.
Empire Rose, special. They tell me she's great in the swimming pool too. She does all sorts of tricks there.
I think Laurie went with Empire Rose, so I'll have to go with Kensai.
Empire Rose, not much money, but a lot of fun.
I like Congressman, and of course I have to have a tip on Empire Rose.
And Mr. Kane, what do you like?
Well, I'm sticking with Orthal. I know there's lots of others that have come up the last 2 or 3 days. You can pick any one of 4 or 5. I think I'll stick with Orthal, number 1.
Australians love a race.
Hemisphere. It's the home of Aussie rule. It's the home of the great Melbourne Cup, the greatest musos you'll ever hear. It's the home of Aussies who give it a go, of restaurants the whole world knows. The home of fashion, a vibrant place, a fantastic place to go. And all the people of Melbourne and Victoria, the home of all these things, extend the world an invitation.
Come on!
See these fantastic things.
Live it, love it. Come on and see Victoria. Ring Victour or your travel agent for more information on our great state.
Big one, as we've said before, the Foster's Melbourne Cup. Total prize money of $1,650,000. The cup is valued at $32,500, and the first prize is $1,072,500. They'll run over the distance of 3,200 metres. We take you now to Keith Hilliard.
Yes, Phil, the top weight here, Orthal, carrying the number 1 saddlecloth. He costs 7.5 million Australian dollars as a yearling. He's owned by Sheikh Mohammed of Dubai. His sire, Shergar, disappeared in mysterious circumstances in Ireland. He looks a picture. He failed on Saturday in the McKinnon, but he looks magnificent today.
Number 2, Kenzai, is attempting to go into the record books by becoming only the 4th horse to win consecutive Melbourne Cups. He's been turned out in magnificent style by his trainer, Les Bridge, and win, lose or draw, you couldn't hope for a better trained horse on the day than Kenzai.
Number 3, Banderol, getting a pat from his rider, Lance O'Sullivan. He's the Sydney Cup winner. His trainer, Dave O'Sullivan, has won all the big ones in New Zealand. He has never won a race in Melbourne. He's won the Sydney Cup and other feature events around Australia. Could this be Banderol's day?
Number 4, Lord Highbrow, ran a good second in country Victoria at his last start. He's turned out very well today. He can stay the distance all right, and he's a roughie with a good chance.
With the scratching of Major Drive, next in list is the favourite, number 6, Natsky, winner of the Metropolitan at Randwick. The last horse to complete the double was McDougall in 1959. Mick Dittman has done this trip before. He won in 82 on Gurner's Lane. He'll give Natsky a good ride.
Number 7 is Shantaroon, an imported horse by Green Dancer, bred by the Aga Khan. He's come up to this race with a perfect preparation, 3rd in the Moonee Valley Cup, and then a nice run here behind Empire Rose and the McKinnon Stakes on Saturday. But the worry now with Shantaroon is the very hard ground.
Number 8, Belciano, 4th in this race last year. He has a substitute jockey. 4 times winner of the Melbourne Cup, Harry White, is riding Belciano. His regular rider, Peter Cook, out on suspension.
Number 9 is the New Zealander, Our Classic Bay. He came to Australia and scored his first start here, winning the Geelong Cup in very impressive fashion. He hasn't raced since, but he bears a well-trained appearance, and he'll run well for David Walsh.
Number 10, Secret Seal, the outsider of the field. Perhaps his owner, Mr. Russ Hinds, a former Minister for Racing in Queensland, is the only person who believes that Secret Seal can win this cup. Yesterday, at the call of the card at the Victorian Club, he backed his horse to win $750,000 Australian dollars.
Number 11 is Empire Rose. She firmed into Melbourne Cup favouritism after winning the McKinnon Stakes here on Saturday in magnificent style. She's a big mare, standing 17.5 hands tall. She ran 2nd to Kenzai in this race last year. She's turned out very well. She's cool and calm, and she'll run a great race.
Round the World, number 12, another mare. She's trained by Bart Cummings, who holds the record of preparing 7 Melbourne Cup winners. This time, if it's to be Bart's Cup, it must be with a roughie, because Round the World is his only starter.
Number 13 is Congressman, to be ridden by Melbourne's leading jockey, Darren Gauci. He was just beaten in the Caulfield Cup 2 starts back, and then ran a nice 7th in the Dalgety on Saturday. He bears a well-trained appearance, and his trainer, George Hanlon, has already won 3 Melbourne Cups.
14, Algonquin Club. A 6-year-old, as the fanfare sounds, and the parade starts to make its way down that famous course onto the course proper, led by Orthul. Algonquin Club, one of the roughies.
Number 15, Full at Last, has gone out in betting. He was one one of the early fancies for the Melbourne Cup, but he did run a nice race when third at Werribee his last start, but this does look a bit beyond him at this stage.
17, Ideal Centreman, winner of the Coogee Handicap at Caulfield 2 starts back, winner of the Moonee Valley Cup only 9 days ago. He is the replacement ride for our Premier jockey Michael Clark, who was taken off the top weight Orthal to be replaced by Brent Thompson.
Number 18 is It's Candide, a mare from New Zealand. She's won 2 Oaks and she ran a very good fourth in the Caulfield Cup at her last start. She looks well and she'll run pretty well.
19, Mr. Bunnythorpe, one of the outsiders from New Zealand. He won at Trentham last start on a slow-rated track. Today's track is fast.
Number 20 is Narbotto, a good staying New Zealander. He ran a reasonable race when 8th in the McKinnon Stakes, and there's no doubt he will be much better suited over the 3,200 metres of the Melbourne Cup.
Tommy Smith trains the outsider Might, number 21. Smith first won the Melbourne Cup back in 1955 with Toparoa. Today it would be a major upset if Might was to give him another.
Number 22 is Terrific. He came into Melbourne Cup calculations with a good second in the Dalgety here on Saturday. He'll be ridden by leading apprentice Simon Marshall, and he looks well also.
Elf Matthews, the lightweight jockey from Adelaide, is on number 23, Apollo Run. Apollo Run won the Werribee Cup at his last start. That was 2,600 metres. Today, Apollo Run has his first try at 3,200 metres.
Number 24 is Copper Tonic. His form is excellent going into the race with a third in the Metropolitan, a second in the Tats Cup in Sydney, and then a win in the Dalgety here on Saturday. He should run the distance right out.
It's the rundown of the Melbourne Cup field as they now make their parade down onto the course proper, and within moments they will start their preliminaries to that start at the top of the straight, and it is only minutes away from the roar of the crowd that marks the start of Australia's greatest sporting event.
Righto, Keith, the big race time to start at 2:40. Bruce.
Phil, it's a great scene as the horses make their way onto the track for the Foster's Melbourne Cup, and let's check the latest dividends in Victoria for 50 cents. Orthal 5.95, Kensai 6.20, Banderole 7.75, Lord Highbrow 14.95. This is what you win for 50 cents. Natsky 3.90, Chantaroon 6.35, Balciano 9.85, Our Classic Bay 13.45, Secret Seal 31, Empire Rose 2.70, still favourite. Round the World 16.10, Congressman 6.65, Algonquin Club 31, Put at Last 16. Scratch Grosvenor a square. Ideal Sentiment 7.95. It's Candide 9.85. Mr. Bunnythorpe 24. Narbotto 33. Mike 40. Terrific 14. Apollo Run 12. Copper Tonic $14. So the biggest sporting event in Australia is less than 5 minutes away. They make their way to the post for the 1988 Foster's Melbourne Cup.
I think I'm going to go for Balciano. I'd go along with that. I'm going for 6s and 7s, whatever the names are. Michael's going with 6s and 7s, folk. If you can check that out on his little book. Andrew, you wouldn't have a tip for us, would you?
Yeah, I think round the world, considering that's what we've just been doing.
I did not pick one winner last year, so don't believe me at all, but I'm going for Chantaroon as my main tip, and a long shot is Algonquin Club.
Well, my tip for the Cup is Pull at Last, because that's how I'll be at the end of the day.
Well, I'm very hopeful that Chantaroon might just win this year, and he'll be really trying, and we're very hopeful.
Hi. Melbourne Cup Day is lovely out here. I like Ideal Centreman. I think that it's done everything asked of it, and I think that this is its test today, but I think it'll be up to it.
Well, I'm actually going for trifecta. I'm going for Congressman, Empire Rose, and Nazi, so we'll see how that goes.
Let's join Eddie Maguire. Eddie, will they put a hood on Chantaroon as they did on Saturday?
Yes, Bruce, they certainly will. Chantaroon will have the hood on. They'll spin him around a couple of times just to get him disorientated because he hates the barriers down here, and he'll be moved in and we'll have a man in with him. Magnificent atmosphere down here. All the people from the car parks have joined in to give the horses one last goodbye. Of course, the metric barrier now 18 metres up from where Far Lap and those sort of horses before an imperial measurement started. The metric mile is 3,200 metres. In fact, it should be 32 and 18 metres if it was the same as the old version. A couple of other horses to watch. Number 8, Balciano, will have a man in with him, and also number 15, Pull at Last, will have an attendant. Empire Rose will just be jammed into her stall. The magnificent mare from New Zealand will be favourite for this Melbourne Cup will be just jammed in and will jump out. Last year and the year before they had special stalls, but this time it'll be the same as usual. Bruce, they're just about in. Van der Rohe sweated up a little bit, but they all look a picture down here. I can't wait for the start. It's one of the great moments in sport. Back to you.
Eddie Maguire at the barrier desk. Spain joins me, as he's always been in the broadcast box for this important event. There's the track watcher, the track clocker here at Flemington for 40 years. What are your impressions of the horses as they went to the barrier? Who did you like?
Well, I was going to ask Eddie about Orthal and Bell's Van der Rohe. They both were sweating up here. I hope they've settled down a bit better, but they were the only horses that did look a little bit excited going down, although a couple were on the toe, but they hadn't broken out. But they're just about ready now, and I just hope that it's a good, clean run and everybody has a good race, and I wish you the best for Drew.
Thanks for that, Jesse. So Empire Rose goes in. There's Algonquin Club. Shane Dye, the jockey. Empire Rose, 22-year-old Tony Allen. Will he join the legends and win the Cup? Or will it be Shane Dye and Algonquin Club? Lance O'Sullivan will bring Van der Rohe along. His father, Dave, is one of the great trainers from New Zealand, but they haven't won a race in Victoria. 3 seconds in the Cox Plate. They're set for the Foster's Melbourne Cup. They stand well. Might has drawn the rails, Natsky drawn 2, and Empire Rose is out in barrier 20. Major drive drove in a square scratch. They stand well, almost set, racing. Crowd roars, and they jumped in a good line today. Nothing missed the start. Mike got away well near the inside. Natsky eased in behind them early. Showing good speed, Mr. Bunnythorpe, and full at last, and Orthal's gone up there in a hurry. In fact, he's going to lead them over the crossing. It's Candide was away well with Narbotto out wider and Balciano. Empire Rose has been given plenty of time to settle down. She's the widest horse on the screen, and a couple of way back Van der Rohe and Algonquin Club. Settling down, and Thompson takes the Irish champion to the front. Orthal leads 2 lengths to Lord Highbrow, trapped 3 deep around Narbotto and Might on the rail. A length further back, Empire Rose is moving up on the outside. Coppertonic's inside of her, the big mare's trapped wide. Balciano outside Narbotto. Wonder which Candide, Chantaroon, Apollo Rum, then Congressman. Further back, Mr. Bunnythorpe on the inside. Terrific trapped a bit deep. Ideal Centreman ridden well back from Kensai. Secret Seal, our classic bay, full at last, 5th last. Behind him as they leave the straight is Natsky. Natsky with round the world outside of him, 1.5 lengths to Algonquin Club and Van der Rohe. No pace on in the Cup, and Thompson would be pretty happy on Orthal. Leads 1.5 lengths on the giant mare Empire Rose. The favourite is second. 1/2 length to Might the Bolter. 1.5 lengths to Lord Highbrow. 1 length further back now, Botto tucked away on the fence, and 1.5 Coppertonic. 2 lengths to It's Candide. Balciano outside of it. Apollo runs pulling on the rail. Chantaroon outside of it, 3 wide, our classic bay going forward. Then Terrific inside of it would have been Mr. Bunnythorpe as Congressman between horses. Further back, Secret Seal outside, Ideal Centreman. Kensai, last year's winners, tucked away on the fence, full at last behind him. 1.5 lengths to Natsky, who's back near round the world. 1.5 lengths to Van der Rohe and Algonquin Club. They move up to the 1400. Orthal by a length to Empire Rose.